Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the very first episode of Conversations in the Dark with me, your girl, Nehkonti. All right, y'all. So today is a very special day, not because it is the first episode, or not only because it's the first episode, but because it's my birthday. Yep. It's my birthday. Um, I'm another year older, another year wiser, and another year blessed. I am officially 28 years old today. Um, and I'm excited for this year, not because of anything in particular, but because of what I know God is gonna do during this year. Or what I know God is gonna do during this year, and I'll dive into that in a little bit. But before I get there, let's talk background, right? Um, what is this podcast? How we even got here? So just background information on how we even got started. I've been wanting to podcast for about 5 years now, probably a little over 5 years. I started listening to podcasts back in 2020 at the very beginning of the pandemic. And as I listened, I just got inspired and was like, I think I could do that. Um, I have a lot to say, or I have a lot on my mind. And well, I mean, everybody else is speaking their mind. So why not do the same, right? And so I did what most people do, and I consulted my friends. And to which they were like, yeah, let's all do a podcast together, so on and so forth. And clearly that didn't happen, which is fine. But yeah, obviously it didn't happen. But the feeling of wanting to do it never left me. And so, I went through years of just a range of different topics, a range of different people. So things I want to talk about, things that I felt would be appropriate to discuss, from music to movies, politics, all of those things. Um, and with a range of self growth and discovery, just a bunch of different topics with a bunch of different people, from coworkers to close friends to friends I met along friends and acquaintances I met along the way. But nothing seemed to fall through. And it was for a variety of reasons, but the main reason was because I was scared. I was scared, I was full of doubt, and I was like, every time I get ready to just start doing it, every time something seemed to line up, literally the only thing that would stop it would be me being like, I'm not ready yet. Um, and so again, and it wasn't just that I wasn't ready. It was that I was scared to do it, and I was just full of doubt. I was like, God, I don't know. And so then God had me read scripture to get me out of that, or to check me on that, because He was like, "Yeah, nah, I'm tired of you. I'm tired of this." So let's dive into scripture. And so I was reading, the scripture he had me reading was First Kings 17, starting at verse 8. If you know anything about this scripture, you know it's about Elijah and the widow. I feel like it's very popular. Most people do know this story. Um, but in case you don't, I'm gonna give a brief synopsis. So they're in the midst of drought and famine. I want to say it was 7 years long. You could fact check me on that, but they're in the middle of it. And God sends Elijah on a journey. He says, "Look, I need you to go to this town. When you get to this town, you're gonna meet this lady. When you get there, stay with that lady. That lady's gonna have everything you need. You're gonna be good." So Elijah's like, "All right, cool." Elijah goes to the town, hot, tired, long journey. He come across a woman. She's out picking up sticks. So Elijah is like, "Hey, can you get me some water?" And the lady was like, "Yeah, alright, cool." So on her way to get the water, he stopped her in her tracks and he was like, and also, can you make me a cake? So that's when she was like, all right, look, I can get you the water. I don't know about the cake because I only got a handful of flour and uh enough oil to fill the bottom of a bottle. And that's not literally what she said. But yeah, she was like, I only got a little bit of flour, a little bit of oil left. And literally it's just enough for me to make enough cake for me and my son to eat before we die of starvation. And Elijah's response to her is, I get that and I understand. So I want you to continue to do that, but also make my cake. And in fact, make my cake first. And if you do this, God will provide everything you need. He'll provide you oil, he'll provide you flour, you'll never run out. You and your son will make it through this. And the lady just goes and does it. Now, personally hearing this, the first time I was like, Elijah got some nerve. Personally, I don't think I could have like walked up to a lady. First of all, we're in a drought. So you already come to me asking me for water in a drought. But cool, I got the water, I'm gonna give it to you. Now we're in a famine, but we're also in a famine. And you asking me, which means we ain't got no food, and you asking me to make you something to eat. And then I tell you I don't have enough to make you something to eat. Like I literally don't have enough for me and my son before we die of starvation. And you tell me to make you some anyways. Yeah. I was like, yeah, Elijah got a lot of nerve. But it wasn't even Elijah who stood out to me, right? Because one thing I'll say, if you read about Elijah, you know Elijah does have a lot of nerve, but honestly, he has the right to have the nerve. Anyways, that's why Elijah is Elijah and Nehkonti is Nehkonti. And we just gonna leave that at that. But what really stood out to me was this widowed lady because not only was she obedient, she was obedient in the midst of trouble, right? Again, drought, famine. You only have enough for you and your son. This man comes up to you asking you for stuff and then proclaiming in God's name, a God you don't even believe in, saying that if you do these things for him, he'll get you this, he'll give you that, you'll be set. And you, for all we know, you don't even question it. You just go and do it. That's very admirable because I know me personally, I know God for myself, right? Like I've encountered him. We've had conversations, all of those things. And I still am like, I still have my reservations and I'm like, oh God, I don't know about that. That don't make no sense and stuff. But this lady, she just goes and does it. And what you might say, well, how you know she doesn't believe in God? After Elijah first asks her to make him some bread, she says, as the Lord your God lives, I don't have anything baked, only a handful of flour in the jar and a bit of oil in the jug. Key phrase here is, as the Lord your God lives. That immediately highlights to me, okay, she doesn't believe in God at all. Um, but then, like I said, even in that, she went on to do what was asked of her anyways. So if you don't believe in God, there is I personally I feel like there was very little chance that she actually believed that, you know, God was gonna do what Elijah said that God would do for her. But she still went and did it anyways. And so again, just reading that and like reading it over and over, it's just a reminder to do it anyways. Do it in doubt, do it in fear, do it despite what circumstances may look like, right? So I was like, okay, God, cool. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Did I do it? No, I didn't do it because this was like a year ago. I didn't do it, but again, it was just the feelings, right? Of, well, God, I don't have like it was just the feelings of like, God, I don't know if I can do it. Um, and then the excuses of like lack. Well, I don't have the equipment, I don't have this, I don't have that. And again, reading and rereading, you see like God promised her with her little that he would make it a lot if she was obedient. If he did that for her, what makes me think he won't do that for me? If he supplied her with everything she needed to carry on, why wouldn't he do the same thing for me? And I was like, okay, God, yeah, you're right. Okay, cool. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Still didn't do it. And now it's just a matter of looking deeper, right? Like, what's the problem? Because at this point, God is providing you with the things, He's giving you the resources. Um, He's even like very much told you, like, I'll do like as long as you are obedient to me, I'll provide you with everything you need. And it was just a realization of like a lack of confidence, not only in me, but in him, right? I have a feeling of not being good enough. I have a feeling of not being well spoken enough. Actually, I'm just very much Moses in this whole thing. Like, God, you got the wrong person. Like, first of all, I ain't never been no public speaker. I don't speak in front of crowds. I used to hate going up to the board to present projects. What make you think that I want to get on a mic and speak to people? And just like God told Moses, hey, obviously I called you to do this for a reason, so you need to go do it. He told me the same thing, like, hey, I called you. And the infamous quote of, do I call the qualified or do I qualify the call, for sure rang through my head. And I was like, all right, God, I hear you. But I was still just struggling with like the whole dynamic of just accepting, like, okay, God, this is what you want me to do. And so God, being the gracious God he is and the understanding God he is, he was like, you know what? Cool. I'm gonna do you something. And I'm gonna give you a year to get yourself together. Um, a year to build your confidence in you and also build your confidence in me. And so during that year, and when I say a year, I mean I want to say like middle last year up until this year. Um, yeah, up until sometime this year, that's when he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna need you to build that confidence and everything else up." So I was like, "Okay, cool." So during that time, it was a lot of like journey of self discovery, basically a lot of time, basically isolation. Um, my friends would tell you I wasn't with my friends like that. Um, I was doing a lot of things on my own, even despite like other people being like, I don't think that's safe." And not that I was doing anything crazy, but like just being a woman, in a bigger city, it could be dangerous doing things alone. But I was just doing things alone. I was going out to eat by myself. I was going to concerts by myself. I would just do a lot of things alone. And not even just outings, alone time with God was very important. Like, I was spending hours in my room just in my Bible, journaling and, praying and reading and things of that nature, and just doing a deep dive into me, but also him, just to build that up because I needed to know that I was enough as I am, but I also need to know that God is enough as He is. In fact, He's more than enough. And that if He is calling on me and if He's pulling on me, it's for a reason. And that I don't have to have all the things, right, to do the very thing that He's calling me to do. I just need to have enough faith in Him to walk in it and believe that He'll give me what I need. He'll supply me with what I need. So I said, okay, so did all of that, and I want to say last year on my birthday, I was talking to my friends and I was like, you know, because this is in the midst of all of these things happening, right? In the midst of me building this confidence and all of that, I was telling my friends, I was like, this is the first time in forever, like I've been fully, fully confident in who I am and being okay with myself and not wishing that I was somebody else, not wishing that I looked different, um, not wishing that I spoke differently, none of that. Like just being okay with me. And from that birthday to this one, I've held on to that. And it's been like a declaration of um self acceptance and love and acceptance of God and trusting God and who He is and moving forward in Him and believing that even when I'm doubting myself, I can't doubt Him. Um, which then makes me not doubt myself because why would I doubt the creator of me, you know? So, anyways, I kind of dragged that out, but took that year and some change or whatever to build that self confidence. And so now on this birthday right here, um, I feel God telling me, okay, I gave you the time to do that, right? I gave you the time to build the confidence. I gave you the time to build confidence in yourself. I gave you time to build confidence in me. I gave you time to build trust and faith in me. Now is the time for you to walk in that with boldness. It's the time for you to put your best foot forward. Trust, do what you say you really put forth what you say you're doing, right? Because one thing I've learned is that faith and belief in God is not just words, it's action. So now it's time to put this stuff into action. You've been doing it. You've been behind the scenes building. All right, now it's time to put it out there. It's time to put yourself out there. It's time to be perceived. It's time to allow people to see you. It's time to allow people to hear you speak. And not even just hear you speak, but hear me speak through you. Um, so that's what we're doing. And that's where we are today. Um, so yeah, that's how we even got here today. Is this first episode is a show of boldness. It's a show of boldness. It's a step of boldness and confidence, not even in myself, but in God and in what He's entrusted me with. Um, so with that being said, because that was a long spiel, let's get into what this podcast is and what we're talking about. So, the mission and purpose of this podcast is to create a safe space for people of all ages, mostly women, no matter where they are in their journeys with Christ, um, to listen and relate by being real and vulnerable because living a godly life is more than what's in the Bible, but how we handle our experiences outside of it as well. So, um, cutting to the chase, I guess. I just want this to be something that people listen to and they understand and see. Like you're not alone in your faith, and you're not alone in your journey. Oftentimes, we take this walk with Christ and we think it has to be this perfect thing, right? Or I have to clean myself up first before I approach God, or I have to get myself together before I come to God. And it's actually the complete opposite. You need to come to Him where you are in the midst of whatever you're in, right? Fully and wholly. And not even just that, after coming to him as you are, realizing that you are still being made whole, you are still being pruned, you are still being refined. Because all the time from the outside looking in, you see people, you see these Christians, and you're like, dang, they got their life together. Dang, they're walking with God. They have it all together, and they're just there. Like it feels as if they've arrived, and the reality is they haven't. And if they have, then they need to teach me something because personally, I'm still struggling. I still have parts in my faith where I'm like it's shaky, right? It wavers and I'm like, God, I don't know, and God, I don't trust you. I still have parts of me where that are hard to that I have a hard time fully surrendering to God. I have pieces of me that and things that dreams and all of these things that God uh, is asking me to give over to Him, and I'm still holding on to it with a tight fist. I still have imperfections and flaws that I'm working on, and I just want people to listen in and hear the words that I'm saying and hear what God is placing on me and the things that He's telling me and realize like, okay, I'm not alone in this and that I don't have to be perfect. That's literally honestly what conversations in the dark me is highlighting. I chose that title because a lot of my faith building, a lot of my relationship with him and how I grew with him was built in the dark, and not the darkness as in hiding, but in the darkness as in uh feeling lowly, right? In those moments where I'm like crying out, screaming, shouting, crashing out for real, spiraling, tears running down my face and feeling as if like, God, I need you to hear me, like the most vulnerable parts of me, the parts of me that other people may not get to see. That's where my faith and trust in God was is built. That's where um our relationship is built. It's built in the quiet moments when you're by yourself and you're in the room alone, and that's when he speaks. So really, again, that's what Conversations in the Dark, the title is me bringing out the things that he's told me while I was alone, right? In which that puts me into my motto of what this is even about. The motto is bringing into light what we learned in the darkness. So it's a play on of a statement of scripture found in Matthew 10:27. I'm gonna go to it really quickly. And in it, so 10:27, he says, "What I tell you in the dark, speak in the light. What you hear in a whisper, proclaim on the housetops." And context of that whole scripture is him telling people to not fear God. I mean, not whoa. Pause. He's not saying not fear God. He's saying to not fear man and to not fear people. Um, because if he takes care of the pigeons, pigeons who are sold for, I think he says in here, like for 2 cents a pigeon, and they don't even fall unless he commands it. What makes you think he won't carry you and keep you? Um, but yeah, so he says that, and I was like, you know what, God, you're right. So this is just me bringing into light the things that he's told me in the midst of my quote unquote darkness, in the midst of my alone time and things of that nature. And I'm hoping it resonates with people. And I hope it makes you feel as if, you're seen and that you are heard and that you're not alone in whatever struggle. There is somebody out here who is going through the exact same thing as you. You don't have to be perfect in your walk with God. That's not what walking with God is. It's not about perfection. It's just about being and allowing him to be perfect in your life and allowing him to build and mold you into the very thing that he's calling you to be despite your imperfections, because he already had taken that into account when he created you. So yeah. Um and my hope for this podcast again is that a whoever is listening, you feel seen, you feel heard, and you know that you're not alone. It relieves the pressure of feeling as if you have to be perfect. But also that God shines through. Whenever y'all are listening to me, I really don't even want y'all to listen to me. I want y'all to listen to the God in me, or listen to God who is speaking through me. Let me place it that way. Um, I want y'all to hear his words and not my own. I want y'all to be able to like tune in and listen through the rubbish, because I'm not gonna lie, I can be a yapper and I can go on a tangent. Um, but in in all of that, God is speaking. I wouldn't be speaking if he wasn't. So God is speaking and I want him to shine through and I want y'all to hear him. And even if you're not, if you're just beginning your walk, right? Maybe you're not even on your walk and you're listening. I still pray that God shines through and touches your heart in some way. And that you are led closer to Christ and that he reveals himself to you in a way he's never done before. And again, I can't help but reiterate it and emphasize it. The main purpose of this for me is for whoever to feel seen because that is a big thing on this journey. Again, we're so caught up in the image of it, right? Of feeling as if I have to be doing all the things. I have to be perfect. And that's not what God is calling us to do. God is just calling us to live for him and to live fully and joyfully in his perfection. Um and to know that you are heard. He hears every cry. He hears every cry. He sees every tear. Nothing goes to waste. Nothing is in vain. And he loves you. Um and again, I just pray that that is conveyed through this. So, with that being said, because I went on a little longer than I would have liked to, especially with this being an intro. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Um, my plan is to release episodes weekly. Again, I'm just getting started, so y'all bear with me. But it is to release episodes weekly, and I'll have everything updated on that. Um, Again, this has been Conversations in the Dark. I am your host, Nehkonti, and I pray to that you guys hear from me soon. Love y'all and goodbye.